my name's Ketevan. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am going to be making a video today about how I'm not really participating in March of the Mammoth this year. I am, but I'm not. So we'll get into that. So basically, the only rule for March of the Mammoth isn't that you have to finish the Mammoth book in March, it's that you have to start it, right? And so I'm not starting a book a large book in March, but that's purely for logistical reasons. And basically, as soon as I get back from a trip that is straddling the end of March and the beginning of April, I will start my big book. So basically, I just didn't want to start in March and then have to take a big long break because I'm not taking like a giant book on this trip with me. So yeah, that is basically it. But I am going to tell you about the books I am going to be reading this year. And actually, does this count as a Mammoth book? I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what a Mammoth book actually counts as because I did not really check it. But this book is 600 pages. I'm also going to be reading this one, but that's for later. Anyway, this video was not planned at all. I wasn't even planning on participating really in March of the Mammoth because, like I said, I wasn't planning on starting a book, so it didn't really matter. But then I was in Rotterdam celebrating my anniversary with my husband, and I did not find any Dutch books that I really wanted to buy in the bookstores. I have purchased a few already from my last trip in Amsterdam. I'll link that video somewhere. But I've read those books with the exception of one, and I enjoyed them, and I just didn't really, actually no, I didn't enjoy all of them. But anyway, but basically I didn't find anything else that like really drew me in. And I have been really good this year about not buying books. So I really wanted to like treat myself. And so I decided that, you know what, it's time to buy some Mammoth books. So these are both books that I had said I wouldn't buy because I can get them from my library. And normally I don't really buy books unless I can't get them from a library or borrow them from a friend or whatever. But I realized something, that since I'm working on this very long process of reading down my bookshelf, I'm never going to say to myself, like, you know what I should do? I should read a 900-page book from the library. No, of course not. Like, I have so many books on my shelf that I need to read. And so it's never going to happen. So unless I own the book, especially a long book, I'm probably not going to read it, right? Because long books are never picked for book club. They're never, you know, like, you don't pick up a big book on a whim, you know? Like, it's not really just going to happen organically. And I realized last year I didn't read any big books over 700 pages, but in 2022 I read The Count of Monte Cristo, which is 1,200 pages, and it's because I owned it and I wanted to get it off my shelf. So I decided that 2023 will be the year of buying and then quickly getting rid of them off my shelf. So the first one I'm very excited about. Well, I'm excited about all of them, but very excited about this one. The Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk, and it's translated by Jennifer Croft. I think Jennifer Croft does all her English translations. And so yeah, it's massive. You can't really, well, you can tell. It's like bigger than my head, and it's really big, and it has like really tiny print. So yeah, there's definitely, it's a chunker. It's like 900 something pages, and, or no, actually it's just under 900. And basically it's a Fitzcarraldo, so you know that they're all like exactly the same, except this one's actually like this much taller. So like a regular Fitzcarraldo comes only to like here. So yeah, it's basically massive. And, but I'm excited for it because I've read all of the other Tokarczuk books available, I think, in English. So this is kind of like the last one I have until her latest book comes out in English, which I'm sure will happen soon. But anyway, basically I'm very looking forward to this one. I've read the, what is it called? Well, Flights, which is longer but not super long, and then the Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. Yeah, that's what it's called, and I really enjoyed both of them. So I have no doubt that I'll enjoy this one. I just need to read it. So this one is interesting. It's like, again, she does like a really interesting job of like melding fiction and nonfiction. So it's a fictional book, historical fiction actually, but it's based on the life of this real guy who wandered around, what century? Mid-18th century, forming religions, like getting followers, changing religions, switching between like, I think he's originally Jewish, and then he goes through the Habsburg and Ottoman empires. He reinvents himself, converts to Islam, then Catholicism. Yeah, he just kind of like causes havoc wherever he goes because he's like upending the order of things, I suppose. And so it's based on this real guy that I guess we don't really know too much about like factually. So what she's done is she's written a book from everybody's perspective except his, probably because that's like the best source material she could get. And also I just think it's a really creative way of writing a book, right? Because like, you know, we all love an unreliable narrator, especially Olga here. She loves those if you've read Drive Your Plow. But it's like even better to just be like, this guy's so unreliable, we can't even trust his own opinion. And we're going to rely on all the other unreliable narrators around him. Like, it's just, I just love that. So anyway, I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Biggest chunker on this list. And then we have The Eighth Life by Nino Haratischwili, I think is how you say her name. And this was longlisted for the Booker. And I had been actually avoiding this a bit because it's written by a Georgian author, but it's written in German, not Georgian, because she's Georgian German. I was just like, oh, I'd rather read books, like Georgian books that are written in Georgian and then translated to English. But I keep coming across it. I keep being intrigued. And now Jim is reading it and I think enjoying it. So based on how quickly he's reading it, I can see on Goodreads. And so I'm really just like, it's time. It's time to read this book. It's like an epic, multi-generational family drama, generation after generation. And so I don't think it's any specific theme other than the fact that they, in the beginning, the family is thriving because of this like recipe for hot chocolate that bewitches its drinkers, but then it has a curse attached to the chocolate. So something like, I guess, magical might be happening a bit. But yeah, it's based on 6 romances that happen over the, I presume, at least 6 generations, maybe less. And yeah, it's, again, really massive. It's, again, almost, or no, just over 900 pages. It's a little smaller, but the print is also like very tiny. So yeah, and it's like so big that the title can go across. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. It'll be really fun, and I think it'll be a little lighter than the Books of Jacob. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. And then, again, I'm not even sure this counts as a mammoth, but for me it is a mammoth because I do not have an audiobook for it. And so for me to read more than 500 pages, I have to really be excited about this book. And I am excited about this book. It's not like I'm not excited. So it's just, I think I've actually talked about this book in a video where I was explaining my book buying system, and that this book, I like ignored the book buying system to buy it. But that's because this book is out of print. The author has written, I think, 4 or 5 books, and he died by suicide quite a few years ago. And so because of that, I mean, it's pretty common that if authors aren't around to promote their work, publishers aren't really keen to keep publishing them. So it's basically all his works have gone out of print. So when this came back, I like immediately snatched it up because I was like, ah, what if they run out? I don't think they've run out, but I have it just in case. And so anyway, Quiet Violence of Dreams, Sello Duiker. He is South African. He is beloved in South Africa, and this is his longest book. Most of his other books are much shorter, but this one's pretty chunky, and it's 700 pages, I think. No, 600 pages. So it's not too long, but because I have to read it like by hand and it's like heavy and, you know, blah, 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 I am gonna, you know, try. I'm probably gonna start this in April because I'm leaving for South Africa in May, and I want to, probably I won't have finished it by May, but I'm willing to bring this book to South Africa to read because that like makes sense in my mind. But anyway, so yeah, so those are my 3 mammoths of the year. I think I'm gonna read all of them. We shall see. I wish myself luck. And putting a video out on the internet kind of holds me a little bit accountable. Not really, but let's pretend it does. Anyway, what are your mammoths for the year? I want to hear all about them. I'm very excited to kind of get back into the long books because even though I don't gravitate towards them, I never dislike them with the exception of the Count of Monte Cristo. Hated that one. But anyway, yeah, so longer books between like, you know, 500 and 800 pages, I never like dislike. I always am enjoying them. So I think it's fine if they're a little bit longer. But anyway, I'll stop rambling there. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.